Hey guys, how's it going? This is Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast. I'm joined here, of course, with my co-host Rios. Let him know what's up, Rios.
How's it going, everybody? I promise we did not plan this. We're in the same shirt.
Exactly. And today I have a great special guest. You know him as one of the voices of the Houston Dynamo. We got Glenn Davis in the house. Glenn, how's it going, bud?
Carlos Rios, thanks for having me on, man. I really feel underdressed for this. You guys look great, and
Oh man.
with my lawn work T-shirt. So
No, what's funny is that I told Rios because we've seen like your interviews and other shows, and I told Rios I was like, "Oh man, we're over here like wearing like Dynamo T-shirts, and he's gonna come in with like a suit or something like that, and we're gonna we're gonna look all like just like regular dudes, and while he's over here all professional and stuff."
We're gonna look like high schoolers getting interviewed by an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
well, in that case, I've already let you down with my wardrobe. Let's hope something better comes.
No, not at all. No, man, thank you so much for joining us, man. Like it's been amazing. Like we were just so happy that you decided to, hey, you come and hang out with us, man. That's just incredible on my, on my end. I feel great. I've heard you for years, on TV and stuff like that. So now you being on our show is kind of like a surreal feeling,
You know, I love mixing with guys like yourself that love the game, know the game, love to talk about the game. I mean, I think we have a lot of commonality there when it comes to that. So no, listen, I really appreciate it. Feel honored to be on your show.
Appreciate it. So Glenn, let's start with like the very beginning. How did you know soccer was your thing? Like how? Like when did it just you're like this is what I want to do, and I'm dedicating my whole life to it.
So I grew up in New Jersey, and the time period that I grew up in, I'm going to high school in '77. I guess is '78 is when I graduate. So when you're growing up in New Jersey, it's a good soccer state, I think, as a lot of people know. But I have to be honest, back at that time period, soccer was only in the inner city areas, really, in ethnic areas, right? So around New York City, you had these pockets of Irish, Scottish, German, Portuguese. And then I was a little farther out in the suburbs. My father was a World War II veteran. He wanted to be away from New York City. He didn't want to be a city guy. Probably had some bad memories in the city. And he moved our family out into the suburbs. And if it wasn't really for a youth coach who came from the inner, from one of those pockets, a Scottish man named Tom McDonald from Kearney, New Jersey, my soccer upbringing would have been a little bit different. But the other key factor was I had a brother that played as a goalkeeper, and we had the New York Cosmos. 25 minutes, 20-minute drive in the car to Giant Stadium. So I saw Pelé, Beckenbauer.
Wow.
Oh man.
On and on. It was remarkable. Giorgio Canaglia. So when you're a kid and you're going to games with 50,000 people, 60,000 people, it's kind of like, whoa. And, back then they had two American guys who had to play on the field. I think it was 2 or 3 was the rule, right?
Yeah.
And they were generally a goalkeeper or a defender, and then we'd be up in the crowd kind of going, man, that could be us maybe one day, So that's the beauty of having a pro team like the Houston Dynamo or Houston Dash in your backyard.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's amazing how you've seen the upbringing and the evolution of soccer here in the States. Like you said, you started, with these teams. I mean, you were even part of the Houston Dynamos from in the 80s. Is that correct? Here in Houston as well. How was that experience? Like, is it kind of eerie knowing that there's now a Houston Dynamo? Back then there's Dynamos back then. Is it how was that experience playing?
First of all, you definitely just referenced my age, right? Because it happens to all of us. When you get older, your lens just expands, right? And now you're like the wise guy, and like you feel like a few minutes ago people were going, hey, does he know? How does he know so much? Now you're like, the Jedi Master just because you've hung around long. So you get a lot of things that maybe you don't always deserve, but you do have a lens, and I have seen the game from a player development standpoint in this country, from a professional league grow. I came in '84 here to play for the Houston Dynamos, plural, like you said. Mm-hmm. We played in high school stadiums. We played in NFL stadiums. We played in Houston at Butler Stadium and Delmar, high school stadiums. Yeah, so for me to see the facilities, the rise of the quality of play. I mean, we had great players back then too. I mean, we had guys who played in World Cups and stuff, playing at Butler Stadium out on South Main. I mean, I haven't been back there in years, but it really is remarkable. And I think, financial side of it, the stadiums, the coverage, there was no social media then. We were lucky to be on page 6 of the Houston Post. We had one guy coming out there who was the beat reporter, and I don't really think soccer was his thing. It's just completely different. That said, it's all relevant to the time period you're in. So it was a great time for me as a young guy. I'm playing next to guys that played in the English First Division, against Cubillas, who played in the World Cup, for Peru. You're traveling. Relativity is very important in a lot of things. But to now look back to that, to look to where players are now, and clubs and teams and the infrastructure and the investment, it's all remarkable.
And that's the thing, though. Like it's like there's a meme that goes around. You have to learn to walk before so these guys can run, and that's you. You were the one that was walking while these guys have to. You're the one that Yeah, exactly. How's it? I just messed up the phrase. You have to learn to.
You walk so they can run.
There you go. That's what it was. You walk so they can run. Yeah, and so like that, but it's awesome. Like to be in your shoes, like to see the development, the growth of the sport here in the States has to be phenomenal a phenomenal feeling for you.
Yeah, no, it is amazing, and to your point of just looking back to that time period. I mean, the city was a different place.
Right.
The whole city was just a different place. It was kind of an oil town, and a medical center, and so I drive by places and I'm like, dang, I remember I went in there. That was a nightclub once, or, that was a gas station, and now it's
now it's a library.
It's Ugo's restaurant on West Island, So
yeah,
it's very neat. It's very
no, exactly. Yeah.
So from your playing days, what are some of your favorite memories as a player?
Yeah, so as a player, I was a central defender. As a center back. So I always loved playing against opposing forwards. So I was lucky in a lot of ways. I got to play against, these may not be names, but Nenny Cubillas was a big name in Peruvian soccer history, World Cup history. Yeah. Got to cover him, got to cover guys from, the English First Division like David Kemp, Jeff Bourne, guys that played at Derby County. And so I always loved the challenge of, having to mark out of a game an opposing center forward that, was apparently, the best goal scorer on an opposing team. But, there's just a lot of great memories. I mean, we played in a couple of championship games in the ASL and the USL. Those always stuck out. We played international friendlies, nothing like now. Like we had Foss from El Salvador come here, and they had the legendary Mágico Gonzalez, El Mágico, who I actually have his jersey somewhere in this house. Yeah, well, I was the smartest guy on the field that night because the minute the whistle blew, I got to him before anybody else really knew. And you got to remember, you didn't have all these. You couldn't go Google somebody and find out about.
Right.
You could only hear rumors and things that organically kind of floated to you.
Yeah.
So. So we played Pumas from Mexico with Negrete. I mean, these were all fun markers for American players at that time and younger guys, and we had a lot of international guys on our team as well.
Now that you brought up Negrete, I had one of the coolest things. So I teach kids. So and so when I was working my way up to teaching, I was tutoring and things like that. So one of the coolest things is when I was tutoring, I met this guy who's this parent who's from Mexico, and he had a lot of ties with with coaching, and so he asked me like, "Hey, do you have a favorite soccer team from Liga MX?" And I was like, "Well, my brother grew up a huge Pumas fan, and because of my brother, some of the fondest memories that I have with my brother lives in California right now, but when I was younger, we used to watch Liga MX, and it was Pumas, that we used to watch. So the guy said, Pumas, right? I was like, yeah. About maybe after I was finished tutoring, one of the coolest things that had ever happened to me, he came up and he's like, "I got something for you." I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And so it's in my Instagram, but it's because I don't have it anymore because I gave it to my brother because I knew it was going to be meant more for him. It was a signed Manuel Negrete
Oh,
jersey,
wow.
game worn. I don't know if you guys can see it through here, but it was game worn.
He gave you
So
that?
yeah, he gave me that. He's like, I have like tons of them because apparently I guess he knows them. And so, but it's like the polyester, like the jerseys felt different. They're not like these, this material, this breathable thing. This was like the actual polyester.
90 degrees down here. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I still have one of mine. I think somewhere in a box. But yeah, these things were not comfortable.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially
I was like, and they were just like, they looked uncomfortable, but you can admire the beauty of them though. Like they looked beautiful. And just feeling it, I was like, first of all, in my as soon as I felt it, I was like, well, how do they play in this? Because the Houston Heat is no joke. We all know that the Houston Heat is no joke.
And you never get used to it.
You never get used to it, no matter where.
I've lived here 39 years, have not got used to it yet.
Yeah. And Rios is 86. Isn't that crazy? No. Anyways, so I have to always throw that joke in for Rios. No, but going back to that, it was just an amazing feeling. I was like, wow, Manuel Negrete. And so I told my brother. My brother was like, I surprised him, and I was like, we had gone to visit him in California. I was like, hey, I got a surprise for you. He was like,
oh wow,
what is it? And he's like, well, just close your eyes and here's a little box, whatever. And he's like, okay. So he's probably thinking he brought me something because I always bring him like an Astros hat or something, right? And he's like, okay. So he looks at it. I promise you not that facial expression that he made. I will never forget it. Yeah, I will never forget it because I left him speechless. My brother is known to talk so much trash, like he's a mess talker or whatever. But that moment was the first time I ever saw him just speechless, not a word, nothing. I was like, "You all right? You all right?" And he's like, "I just can't believe it." He almost cried. I knew that he cried.
So, that I could imagine how he felt. Yeah. And every time I hear the name Negrete, I think of two things: one, the side volley in Aztec in 86, and then, of course, that's when I'm on a pro team here in Houston, and I do remember, I think Northern Ireland got to a World Cup with Norman Whiteside, maybe. Mm-hmm. And we had an Irish goalkeeper named Bill Irwin who played for Cardiff City. And he took off for a couple of days to go down to Mexico City and catch up with the Irish national team. But I played against Negrete in a thing called the Marlboro Cup in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And, it's a little guy.
Yeah.
Well, what an unbelievable soccer player.
Yeah.
So your brother's lucky.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. He literally told me, whenever I pass away, I'm getting buried in this thing. He's like, I'm getting buried in this. Like, there's nothing. I'm writing in my will right now. This will be whenever I die, I'm getting buried in this thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. But nonetheless, now let me ask you, like, what is the coolest jersey you ever got from another player? Like the one that you can just remember. Like,
okay, so you got to remember a couple things. First of all, back in those days, you got fined if you gave your jersey away.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Really?
There was no Nikes and Adidas's, and you had 15 jerseys, and you can give them away. No.
Wow.
It was none of that. You had to give your jersey back after the game, and they cleaned them, and you wore the same jersey probably the next game and throughout the season. So there wasn't all of that. And in fact, this is an amazing story. We used to practice at different places because we didn't have a facility, the Houston Dynamos in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And it was only a pro team for a couple of years, by the way. So it turned into an amateur team and a long story lines. But it was a pro team for only 3 years. First year we got to the league championship, we lost in a thing called the shootout. But we would practice like at Houston Baptist University. We'd roll in our Volkswagen Rabbits. The Rockets would practice there too. They'd roll in Mercedes, Hakeem and Ralph Sampson, and Bill Fitch was the coach. And some guy would come in and, hey, you soccer guys, get out of the locker room. Rockets are here,
Oh, wow.
Okay, all right. So, but, we didn't have jerseys to give away like that.
I see.
But one day a guy came and our practice, we were cooling down, and they start bringing out all these boxes of soccer shoes, and they're Nike. And at the time, nobody's wearing Nike. Nike's not even known for soccer shoes, right? Now, fast forward to now, right?
Everybody's got one.
Right. So the guy says to all of us, he says, look, plenty of sizes, take as many pairs as you like. So guys are diving into them. I didn't like them because the soles were really hard and they weren't flexible. I didn't like them, so I actually never wore them. I took a pair or two, but a lot of guys wore them, and that was the first time I had ever seen Nike soccer shoes.
Wow. And that it's so funny that you say that, because like now you just see them everywhere. They're all, you got the tiempos, you got all that, and so
Superflies, the Mercurials,
all that. They have so many different kinds, and it's just funny how, like when you're explaining it, that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to have in here, because you gave us like this other side, this other perspective that we don't, that us regular folks don't know. You know what I mean? Like we don't.
We got to get to history here, and look, I mean, one day these guys are going to be looked upon as, people might be saying, wow, these guys were kind of pioneering in a different way too, depending on where the trajectory of the game goes, right?
Right.
I mean, some people will say, oh, we were pioneers. Well, there were guys before us too that were pioneers, right?
Right.
So I think we were just, we were so passionate about this.
Hey.
What type of dog you have, by the way?
Sorry, it's a little, it's a Schnauzer, and he likes to. I think there's like another dog barking outside, so they're trying to like go at it against each other. So very professional here, Glenn. That's what we do.
You got to have a good dog. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, nonetheless, man. Like I said, that's an amazing thing. Like you're looked at as like the pioneers now. I'm sure to these guys that are on in the Dynamo now. Like, wow, these guys are the ones that started this whole thing. And like you said too, like you had other guys that you.
Was before us too, like we all play our little part in this thing, moving it forward. And I think the generation of guys around my age now that are still involved in this, we're totally passionate about the game. So I have great friends I grew up with, have run tremendous college programs that played pro, that have gone on to be fantastic coaches, have worked for Arsenal and have worked for manufacturers and Adidas and Nike. And so, we didn't get in it because the end game was making money. We got in it because, man, we wanted to play at the highest level we could possibly get to. And we were going to do anything we could to get there. Yeah.
Do you, and that's an amazing thing, because like sometimes you just kind of, I don't know, nowadays it feels like, and I might be wrong, because like now it's all about, the highest, it's almost like about the highest paid player and stuff like that. Like it's almost like, I mean, I'm sure the love of the game is still there,
commercialized more so. Like it's more about getting the sponsorships, getting the bigger contracts, the shoe deals, and that. Like not so much the love of the game anymore. I feel the same way. Also, it's like it doesn't feel like it's their passion. They view it as a job almost sometimes.
Rios, don't you think that's true of all sports? But I mean, that's I feel that big time. I feel like it's so over commercialized now. It's like. We're talking about this. We're talking about all these comforts and all these things that the fan expects now. And then you can turn the game on from Central America, it's Copa Libertadores, and you got 50,000 people sitting on concrete. And then and then you say, why do people come to games in the U.S.? Why, So I do think it's overly commercial, and I get tired of the commercial aspect of it. I understand why it's there. I listen. I have a radio show. I thank my sponsors. I'm commercial too, but
in the end, we all are like
we're all serving some master. But the thing is, you want it to be about the nuts and bolts of the game. I don't want to go on the radio and just say something every night on a radio show like tomorrow night when I'm on with Soccer Matters and talk about things that everybody already knows, and they click the button and go, man, that's a bore. I mean, this is white bread. There's nothing, this guy's not going deeper. He's not probing. So I'm kind of with you, Rios and Carlos, that it does get a little too focused on the commercial, and here's what we look like getting out of our car before the game, and here's our outfit. You know what I care about? I want you to go out and score goals. I want you to perform. Those are the things that light me up.
Yeah, I remember
the passion for the patch on your shirt, like just giving it a go when you're out there.
what was it? It was and I think it was when I feel like it was when the U.S. didn't qualify for the men's national
The
for the
World
World
Cup,
Cup. I'm sorry, and
2018.
now I
Yeah,
can't remember now off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. The commentator that made the comments about the men's national team, how he talked about the guys that paved the way for them, how they weren't into the whole like you said, the Mercedeses, the outfits, everything. Like those guys paved the way for so that these guys could actually get into this. But for the U.S. at when they didn't qualify that year, like it was like he called. I think he basically called them out on it. Like why didn't you? And I can't remember. I'm trying to blank on the
They,
name. And
they were easy pickings after not qualifying for the World
right,
Cup.
yeah,
That's low hanging
exactly.
fruit. Everybody can have a crack at that.
Yeah.
You have to talk about the coach too, and
Mm-hmm.
that was Bruce Arena, who
Yeah.
is probably the greatest American coach ever. But I think that was the best thing that could have happened to the national team program at the time,
Yeah.
because I think it
definitely.
accelerated the use of the younger players now. I think this
Yeah.
group of guys has got a World Cup under their belt as soon as they figure out the federation side of things. This is the first time unprecedented we've ever had players playing at top clubs around the world and performing well to this
Yeah.
level and to this volume. So,
I
um,
I
yeah,
really see that. Like I saw the younger talent stepping up so much in a lot of these games, how they kept
they
them so
showed,
close.
they
I was like,
showed passion. They
yeah, exactly.
guys like playing for each other. They like playing for their country, and I hope that continues to prevail.
And you said it perfectly yourself. Like these are younger guys. It's not like they're like older guys that are like on their way out. They still have a good ways to go.
Yeah, their best players
And
are like 23 and under.
yeah. And like you said, they're also this is the first time where a lot of these guys are now playing overseas as well. Like you haven't seen that in a lot in previous US teams. Is that correct?
Ever really?
All of a sudden, we're playing at bigger clubs and
Right.
in more prominent roles. We'd have the odd guy here or there, the Clint
Mhm.
Dempsey, the Tim Howard in goal. I mean,
Mhm.
goalkeepers has been our thing. But to now see a number of these guys, McKenny, Tyler Adams, who's injured right now, Aronson, and these, a lot of these guys getting opportunity, and having a World Cup behind them, and then having the next one in the United States, it bodes pretty well. Got to get the right coach now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. Do you Rios, we had asked the question about like where do you think about the academy? Is that correct or
Yeah, so you've seen the evolution, over the years, but I think what separates us from other countries, like here, it's basically it's pay to play. Like we don't get the best players because not all these kids can afford, just $3,000 academies. And versus overseas, like they go out and they get these kids and they, pay for their wages, they pay for this, they pay for that. I guess what can we do to catch up with the rest, like with South America and with like Europe, like as far as academy wise?
Well, it's complicated. It's never going to be the same as the rest of the world. There's so much money changing hands. Let's just take Houston as a market, for instance. So right now we're in a time period where, and I ran a youth club for 10, 11 years, about maybe 10, 11 years. I loved it. It is so dominant now from the standpoint of making money that, player development decisions a lot of times are based on money.
right?
So these kids everybody's trying out for clubs now. You got every type of different league. You got MLS next with the Houston Dynamo we're in, along with a new club headed up by Josh Gardner called Rangers. You've got this company, I think it's called GFI, which was Total Football. So they're the three MLS next. Then you have ECNL. You have all these leagues. You have everybody trying to grab their money. You get all these crazy claims of we're revolutionizing youth soccer and we're the pathway to the pros. And the truth is very few players are going to make it to the pros.
Right.
And I believe we're in a lot of ways being a little bit unethical in the way we present this to parents who, parents get big eyeballs a lot when it's pathway to the pros and all that. And it's dangerous to me. And let me tell you, and I mean this, I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody. There are really good coaches out there and there are really bad coaches out there, okay, that are not doing the job.
Right.
But there are a lot of really good ones. But when it's all about money and being the massive youth club and marketing, it's pretty easy to see through it. You see who's doing it. And you got to hope that there was some way to maybe get all the oars rowing in the same direction. that didn't happen because when the Dynamo came in, they missed an opportunity to maybe take a bit of the lead way back when the club came in kind of helping to shape and lead and bring together, extend the olive branch to the youth community and get everybody maybe, you're never going to get everybody, but you can get the majority moving in the same direction for the betterment of the game, and everybody can still, make their money. I don't begrudge people making money. I just begrudge how it affects player development. So now you got all these tryouts going on right now with 10 and 11-year-olds. The language that's used is sign a contract with a 10 or 11-year-old.
Wow.
Look, you don't make a tryout, it's not the end of the world. It's a moment to teach a young boy or a girl that there is disappointment in life, and disappointment is part of player development. So
reality check.
Correct. And you got all this angst and this worry and nervousness amongst parents and kids, and it gets purveyed in a lot of ways in the wrong way by some of these clubs. So it's a problem. I don't know what the way back is. I really don't. I think at the end of the day, for me, if I had a child right now trying to play in youth soccer, it's really about the coach that's spending time with your kid.
Yeah, no, you make a great point on that one. It says we always kind of wonder, like, you have like these, these academies and whatnot. And I've seen like some, like over here by Richmond, Texas, they had like a Borussia Dortmund one, and they also had like a Real Madrid. Like they all like rent out that space for out in I think like FM. I can't remember the road, but there's like a space over there a lot, and it's just it's funny to me because I'm like, I see the player development from like in other countries, but like what's the difference here? Like I would love to see, the US have that, but we don't have it. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm from Mexico, so like Liga MX is it's you have it almost the same, but like over there, like in those countries like Europe and stuff like that, like I just see so many players develop, and I'm just like, wow, how can we get to that? Now, don't get me wrong, like the MLS has, evolved so much since '93. Now we have, we have
careful. Look at the rosters and look at game day and see how many Americans are playing.
True.
You got to look at that too, and you also have to look at Houston. We haven't developed anybody.
That is true. We don't.
He came over from the Houstonians.
Yeah.
In the era that I was involved in, we had a number of guys going to MLS relative to those times. Mm-hmm. But the fact that we haven't produced more starting players for the Houston Dynamo,
like homegrown, like any homegrown players, like I haven't.
Not be used as a marketing tool as a homegrown, that actually can go and take legit minutes and produce. This is what's got to happen in the future, and it's been too long without this. I mean, you could see pictures of all these kids that are considered homegrowns for the Dynamo that have never touched the field. And ironically, the one that probably has the biggest upside right now is Brooklyn Reigns, and the Dynamo did a good piece of business buying him. I guess Pat Onstad and company, but it's not a local developed here. I mean, come on, look at how many people are here, and kids are playing soccer. And,
like you go to like Chimney Rock and all these areas there, and you got kids playing, just balling out and stuff.
Even
like
in these indoor places, you see the talent there. Like, how are these guys not signed? Like,
Rios and I used to play indoor. Now, don't get me wrong, we weren't good. We just used to play indoor, recreationally. All right. And so,
which facility?
Southwest Indoor Soccer in Stafford. Yeah, and so I think they used to the Hot Shots used to play there too, and
they used to
they used to practice there, and like we were like, I'd say maybe about 5, 6 years ago, we were like going there almost every day, every week, just playing. Like I'm completely out of shape, but I was gassed out, but it was still fun for me to do it, And Rios, he played football most of it, so obviously none of us were experienced in any way, but it was still fun. But sometimes you get to go against people because they play like like friendlies, or some people sometimes they don't have enough people, so some of these guys that are really good would join in, so you got to be completely destroyed by the players that were just good. Like, oh, there goes my ankles.
I view it as a challenge to get better. Like if someone would burn me on one play, like, you know what, not again. Like I will study the technique and take the ball away from them. Like I feel great doing that.
But going back to the point though, like there's so much. I feel like there's so much talent here that if there was like, I don't know, I'm just saying like like scouting or something, like somebody going to these places.
There is. All these
Yeah.
clubs playing, player development, and I think some do a good job. Like I said, I think it's a mixed bag. There's some excellent, and there's some very poor coaching. But to your point on, Borussia Dortmund, and there's a lot of pro clubs. Every team from Mexico has either some sort of affiliate or loosely affiliated scout here in Houston. It's all over the place, to your point. So they all understand the market. They understand the soccer passion that's here in all these different nationalities and ethnic groups that come from all over the world. I mean, that's the beauty of our city. I mean, one day we could make the stadium a cornucopia of all these different people that just come from every corner of the globe.
Of course.
That love the game. We'll see more Nigerian flags there, more Honduran flags there, and make it less. Less kind of trying to be Rockets and American traditional sports and just make it a mishmash.
You take these down really quick. Yeah. The hot mess. Yeah.
I love all sports.
Same.
You know what I mean? That's the uniqueness of football.
You see it when they play when they play Pumas or play Tigres. Like you see like the fans from other, it's packed, like the passion they have for any little thing like this. The energy in the stadium is so much different than say a Dynamo home game. It's just a different type of energy.
Well, at least the Dynamo got Santos Laguna, so that'll be good.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll be a good crossover, and those are always opportunities to earn unique fans. You get a bunch of Santos fans there. You have a good game that night. You produce. You play some good football, and all of a sudden, you may have some of those people coming to your games.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically like how can it makes it more engaging. It makes it more interactive and stuff like that. And I think that's what the fans need. Like they need some interaction, some fun, some stuff going on. I mean, look, Astros do giveaways here and there. The Texans, well, they're trying, but they're nonetheless is like it's becoming something interactive to get the fans going. And like I said, the last few times I've been to Dynamo games, and I'm not dogging the Dynamo at all, but like sometimes the last few times that I've been, it's almost like, I'm kind of like this, and this is me. I'm part of the Texian army, and I think Rios is too. So you do your best. You have your section, but I look at like Austin FC, and they got like a whole, crowd going on, and it's like electric over there. And I was like, man, we can be that too, like that's
we should be that.
We should be that,
There's no reason why these games shouldn't be sold out like that.
Exactly.
There's a lot of work to be done to correct things, I think now, but I agree with you guys. There's no reason. I don't want to hear excuses anymore because nobody can make excuses. We heard them for so many years. So let's hope it's on the upward trajectory, and some things are happening, I think, with the team, and there's stadium upgrade. So people are, I think, coming around to it again.
It looks like there's an upward trend going. I mean, the Dynamo's even doing. Like the Dynamo's even playing a lot better this season. This is like I haven't seen
undefeated at home, which is bizarre. We usually lose at home, so it's like, wow, we're undefeated. What?
Yeah, and so I think like you said, hopefully it's an upward trajectory for the Dynamo, and I love this team. I do. We've been going for years. I went at Robertson.
Robertson Stadium.
I went to to PN. What's it called? Is it BBA now? What is it called? No, PNC or Shell. That's right.
That was Shell.
Get those sponsors right, Shell.
That's right. Shell. PNC. What am I thinking, guys? It's Shell.
I'm going to blame it on you, Carlos.
Right. It's Shell. Anyway, so Shell. It's we've been there. We were there at the opening game for that first opening game for that stadium.
I remember how we got these two. I remember how we got these 2 stars. 06, 07. Like I was there, man.
I won a third one. I won a third one.
It would look nice with 3.
Yeah, wouldn't it look right with 3? Yeah,
it would.
And so, I mean, that's like I said. Hopefully, things go up for the Dynamo. Like that's what we're looking forward to. But
honestly, since 2019, it's been a hard watch. Like the product on the field has just been hard to watch since 2019. This year, it's gotten a lot better. But the last few seasons, like man, as a fan, this is hard to watch.
Yeah, it's been hard to watch for a lot of years. I'd even go back farther when it comes to purpose of play. I guess they call that game model now. But I think you have to have an entertaining product in Houston. to get the international fan in this city. If you want the authentic soccer fan, and I think the Dynamo roster's improved. I think you're better collectively, but the question remains even after the last two games. Which, look, if we have to be honest, those two games could have went either way. You've been sitting on 2 losses and got to figure out how to score goals. And we got 4 or 5 players that are not noted goal scorers that we're depending on. Coco Carrasquilla is not a noted goal scorer. Love his game, but he's not a noted goal scorer. He pulled a couple shots wide in the last game, really good chances, right? Ivan Franco, not a noted goal scorer. Amin Bassi, not a noted goal scorer, but is now a noted penalty taker for sure.
He's our leading scorer right now. It's crazy. Yeah. He's a midfielder. He shouldn't be the leading scorer.
That's 4 penalties. So he's got wonder in the run, And then you got Corey Baird, who's not a noted goal scorer in recent times. So, you're going to have to figure out tactically or revive Sebas Ferreira or do something in a transfer window, or hopefully Aliou Ibrahim, this young Nigerian, can bring something, although they're kind of tempering that. I think Pat Onstad's trying to not put pressure on him. But this is not a pressure-filled market here. I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to coverage and demand, it's not a pressure-filled market, and that doesn't help the Dynamo. And Ben Olsen and players, they want pressure. They want media talking about their game. They're entertainers after all. I want somebody to call my show and disagree with me more.
Make it interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because nobody's one opinion. Nobody knows. We all have opinions about this game and ideas about it and judgments about it. So it makes it good. But healthy pressure is something we don't have in this market. We have to cultivate it, I think. If they start winning a few more games down there, that'll get people out. But, we also need writers and radio hosts and people that aren't afraid to criticize the midfield play of the Houston Dynamo or say, give reasons why they think they're not scoring goals. We have to have more of that.
Question, why don't you have a true number 9 out there? Like, you're paying Sebas all this money, but he's on the bench. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Point of contention. Ben Olsen, in my conversations with him, said that, he wants more work out of him. Corey Baird runs the channels better. Corey Baird's going to run twice as much as Sebas. I don't think there's any question. But to be fair to Sebas is a specialist. He scored 13 goals last year with a team that didn't really support him. Now, I don't know about the tactics now, because when you play with inverted wingers, that doesn't benefit a guy like Sebas Ferreira. Sebas Ferreira needs a wide game to pull defenders off him, to give him some room to move in a penalty area. So I just think it's different things. And, coach wants to do it one way, and that's his job and that's his prerogative. But you are sitting on a guy that you have paid a lot of money. And if you saw Sporting Kansas City and Seattle win the other day, their first win of the year, Alan Pulido's back. You guys know him from Mexico, and scores a goal. He's healthy, and designated players are the guys that change and win games in this league.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, when we got Herrera, did you, I saw it, I was like, okay, this could be beneficial for the Dynamo, but I saw it as this is another way to get fans especially from the Mexican national to come to our stadium as well. Did you see it that way as well, or did you just see it, differently?
I didn't see it as, I heard a lot of people, it's going to be sold out all the time. But I never believed that.
I didn't think so either.
No,
it's going to be sold out.
There'd be a bump of a couple, maybe 2003, maybe, but now that he's playing well and he's engaged, he's played some wonderful games, really orchestrating the team. I don't think his last game was his best game. In fact, I thought he was a little bit off, although he almost scored the game winner. I think we have to keep an eye on him, because as the volume of games come in this month right now, they're going to play another 6 games. The weather's changing. You can't expect him to do everything.
Right.
And, he's scoring goals for you. He's trying to set play. He's all over the place doing a lot of different things. It's been amazing to watch him, especially some of the early games. But you can't expect him to do that the entire season. And So to have him engaged and focused, I think is a big thing this year. And I think that was a question mark to a lot of people coming in.
Yeah, it was. How much does he have?
How into this is Hector really? And I think we're finding out at the moment he is.
Yeah, that's the best part. That's like your best scenario possible, because if you're questioning it now, like you said, you see it. I personally, I'll be honest, when I saw him getting from Atletico, I was like, how much left does he have on the tank? Because sometimes when you see a guy come from like a club like that, especially like Atletico or something, and go to MLS, like you've seen, like, all right, are we really bringing our, are we really into it?
Is he here to play, or is he here just to get a paycheck?
Yeah,
basically.
And so, and like you're saying now, this
He
season,
looks
I'm
engaged,
like, wow,
like,
he looks
he seems
engaged.
very
He looks like
engaged.
he's really, he looks like he's really into it, like you said. So I'm like, okay, this is a great scenario for the Houston Dynamo. I think this is beneficial. I think it's kind of paying off now.
Yeah, working younger players, leading. I see him doing a lot of little things subtly that I'm sure you guys see as well.
Yeah.
It's really positive when it comes to working with his teammates, because look, it's a big change to go from playing with what's around you at Atletico Madrid and what's at you with the Houston Dynamo. And I've seen, international stars, and you've seen it too, just lose their minds in this league because the same things don't happen because the makeup of the player is different. And their expectation has to change in order for them to be effective. So I think he's getting it done. Although his last game I don't think was his best game, but he's so gifted and he's got soft feet for a big man. I mean, he's so fun to watch.
When you said about the guys that come over and like they kind of lose it, the first person I thought in my mind right now was Andrea Pirlo. I was like, when he came over, I was like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. And then I was like, no, it was not.
Gerard had a rough time.
Yeah.
In the early days of MLS, when some of these guys came over, oh man, it was
hard to watch. It was like
was here, who won the World Cup with Germany, and you were like, okay, what's the real reason he's here?
Yeah, exactly.
21-year-old girlfriend that he followed to the States that's in acting school in New York. I mean, you don't know really why maybe what the priorities are. But look, guys at that stage of their career can make their choices. But you can't come here now and coast, or you will be embarrassed in this league.
Yeah.
Look at Shaqiri in Chicago. How much is his performance part of the reason the coach has maybe lost his job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Shaqiri's playing a little bit better, scoring a few more goals, you got another 6-9 points, maybe Ezra Hendrickson isn't fired. Mm-hmm. So it's I think we've seen every type of scenario possible when it comes to foreign players coming here that were big stars.
Yeah. So speaking of which, so we're looking at speaking internationally now, Messi. We were talking about Messi earlier, Rios and I, right before we started, and we were thinking about
where does he go?
Where does he land? Like where does he land next? Like by the way, do you see him in MLS, or is that just all like hearsay? What do you think?
A pipe dream.
I don't put anything by anything. I mean, what's the latest one? He's going to go to Al Hilal in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Jordi Alba's going to follow him there, and Busquets, which could make sense because they get them off the books financially at Barcelona, who's had all the financial challenges.
Yeah.
They're Messi's pals. I mean, that's possible. I don't know if is he going to go back to Barcelona? I don't know if he wants to. I think he could tarnish his image if he goes back there. It's a more defensive team under Xavi now. They're not winning like the old tiki-taka teams that everybody fell in love with Messi and Xavi and Iniesta. So I don't know. I mean, look, that's crazy money, right? I mean, I don't even know what all those digits add up to, but it's nuts.
Yeah. I think it was like that's a sale like 434 million. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, for a year. I'm like, sign me up.
Finances and the game just getting so changed. I mean, we know he loves Barcelona. He's said that many times, living there with his family.
They brought him up too from when he was they basically raised him. Yeah, I was gonna say they basically raised him through the academies, through the medical stuff that he had going on. Like
it was given growth hormone.
Yeah.
But, the thing I really look at is if he goes back to a weakened Barcelona team, although they're going to win La Liga, but, where does that those teams he were on, those were superhuman teams. I mean, those are defining teams that changed football as we know it.
Yeah.
Like you have the Dutch in '74, you have that team and the way they played and the tight game they played, and just remarkable stuff. People couldn't get the ball from them, and it was all this tight passing and immediate pressure if they lost the ball when they did, if they did. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Miami would be a safe place for him as far as handling celebrity life. Who knows? I mean, I guess anything's possible, right?
Yeah, we thought about that too. We're like, if anything, like I could only see like Miami. If anything, maybe LA Galaxy, but that would be it. But not like those would be the only two teams that I could see Messi. Imagine if like the Dynamo pulled one out, Messi and like the Houston Heat. It's just like, nope, we're not doing it.
The national team, they like coming to Houston. I know that. They like coming to Houston. Rios, if you had your choice, are you going to the Middle East, Al Hilal, Miami, or are you going back to Barcelona?
Man, $434 million a year is a lot of money.
I think we're all chasing the money here.
That's a lot of beer because I see drinker of beers under your name. So
there you go.
You got hard assets for a long time with that cash.
Speaking of which, I had totally forgotten. Rios, you ready for your beer of the week? Give us a little bit of insight. All right, here we go. Rio says beer of the week, y'all. So Glenn, we have to give him his own segment for him to feel special. Go ahead.
I like that. Well, I heard he's like Cristiano Ronaldo. He's kind of hard to control. He's high maintenance.
Such a prima donna. Yeah. He's such a prima donna.
You can see it in his face. He's got that
look at him.
prima donna look to it.
Yeah. Go ahead, prima donna.
I'm worth every penny.
Right, so this week, I got to see this beer. Come on, Rios.
All right. So this week, I bought this one yesterday. It's my first time trying it. Pacifico Clara from Mazatlan. I did a little homework on it. So apparently, they've been around since 1900, but 3 Germans. They moved to Mazatlan, which is in Sinaloa. They created it in 1900, and So this is basically a Pilsner. What's similar to it? Carlos, we had this before. You remember when we had a Bitburger, right?
Yeah.
Very similar to that.
Yeah.
I've had Pacifico. I like it.
You like Pacifico is refreshing. Like that's those hot summer days, dude. Like you can't go wrong with those.
Like I've never had it till yesterday, surprisingly.
Have you had it in michelada form yet?
I haven't.
Oh,
I've been doing it with the lime juice.
Yeah,
pretty good combo.
Michelada form, dude, on a hot summer day, legit. Telling you, highly recommend it.
Definitely 10 out of 10. This is I'm gonna keep in steady rotation. This is really good.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the Pacifico beer is like legit. Whenever it comes, I'm telling you, try it for michelada form, dude. You're not gonna regret that. It's great. We had it. We had like I took a small vacation for spring break to San Antonio, and they had it, and it was like at the Hyatt, whatever, in San Antonio, and so we had Pacifico, and then we made it in michelada form, and ever since then it was like, oh, this is legit. So michelada form, highly recommended for Pacifico.
Come to try it then.
And with the tahini, you use tahini.
Tahini, the tomato sauce, all that. Like it's legit, man. It's like a Bloody Mary to the second power.
I never knew about a michelada, but my ex-wife was from Mexico City, so.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do you like micheladas, Glenn, or no?
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, definitely different. It's not, culturally, it's not something I grew up with, but definitely different. I love it. I mean, look, when I got here from New Jersey, it was like a whole new world food-wise, as far as spices and, real Mexican food. Even the Tex-Mex was amazing.
Yeah.
Good Tex-Mex. So, it opened up a whole new world. I mean, I grew up on hamburgers and fresh tomatoes out of
the and that's the beauty about Houston.
Liver that was like eating a Goodyear tire.
It's all rubbery.
Never touched a piece of liver since. But
no, that's the beauty about Houston. So for a lot of, because right now we get broadcasted through Let's Talk Sports Network, which is like it's in like our producer Dan. He's in England, and then how do you call it? Hardcore Sports Network, which is in Philadelphia. So for folks that watch us that are not in Houston, like it's like a whole new different world. You have food from all over. You know, you have
Any
it's
country you could think of.
any country you
Any
can think of,
country.
you find it, and it is just amazing. Like Glenn just said right now, he had never had like these micheladas, this authentic Mexican food, this Tex-Mex, because he's from Jersey. You said you grew up on burgers, the fresh tomatoes, and all that. And so, how was it? Let me ask you this: when you first tried like all these different kinds of food, how was it for you? You said like it opened up a new world for you. Like, how did you like
100%,
take it in, man? How did you take all that in?
it did. I love shopping in Fiesta, the old Fiestas of the day, which I don't think there are many of those left.
Not much anymore. The downtown one, I think they turned it into a lab of some sort.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
that was
they
like
closed
right
it down.
across the
I
yeah.
used to shop in that one.
Yeah, the one across from it used to be the old Mexican consulate, and now it's like they closed down by the Sears that they used to have there too, and now all that's closed down.
There was a great one out on I-10. There was a bunch of great ones, and they all were a little reflective even of their neighborhoods. But no, I mean the cuisine in Houston is remarkable. I mean, you've got amazing Indian food, you've got Pakistani food. I mean, you've got everything you could ever ask for. Tremendous steakhouses, barbecue, of course.
Yeah.
Authentic Mexican, Tex-Mex, all these little hole in the walls, great sushi.
Yeah.
I just
I love it here.
you know, yeah, I mean, that's why I ended up living here. It opened up a whole new world when it came to food, and I was like, wow.
Right.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. You know the Wizard of Oz when that scene where like it's all black and white and suddenly you see color, like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like. You know what I mean?
Follow that yellow brick road.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up in Aleph, and like basically one corner you have like a Indian restaurant, another corner you have this halal grill, another one Mexican food, Salvadoran food, like all like within like a mile radius of each other. It was
I had never.
Blair Boulevard, you got all those great Asian.
Yeah.
I mean, every type of Asian restaurant you could ever. You got
Exactly.
dim sum, you got Korean, you got the restaurant Mine. I mean, you got Thai out there. You got hot pots. I mean,
you can get the authentic ramen. It's like anything you think of.
It's amazing.
Over the Hot Rocks,
Yes.
Yeah, dude, everything. Like I said, Houston. For those of you that watch us that are from y'all need to try Houston. Houston is legit for food, entertainment, like everything that you can think of. Like you see it here, and that's why we love Houston. Houston is amazing. Like it's almost like I'm saying, what's that?
I was at the House of Blues last night.
House of Blues. Thank you. House of Blues was awesome. Did you go? Who was playing at the House of? No, it wasn't the Yeahs. It was somebody else.
No, they were at 713. It was
713.
Furs from the 80s.
Oh wow.
Oh.
It was cool. It was a good show. Actually, there were some soccer fans there too.
Oh really? Did any of them recognize you up there?
I had a few soccer fans digging the psychedelic Furs. Every concert I go to, they're soccer fans. Well, we know that. We know that. They're everywhere.
Exactly.
Hopefully it continues to grow.
Yeah, hopefully it continues to grow. Like I said,
it's grown there. We have to grow it on the MLS side. We got to get.
That's true.
Me, I really want to see more authentic soccer fans down there. From that are new, that haven't experienced it yet.
Like I want to see the stadium full. Just people just with that passion, just going crazy. That's my dream for the Shell Stadium now. Gotta get the sponsor right.
Shell.
Yeah, we've had some good crowds. The first couple of Dynamo home games, there's been some nice crowds. They're vocal. They're into it. The acoustics in there are great because it's a bowl.
Right.
So makes it louder, even louder. I still shake my head that when you build a stadium like that, nobody was smart enough to keep the four corners open so that would be some airflow. Because you put a bowl in Houston and you're going to keep all that hot, heavy.
All the heat, everything.
Especially June and July. Oh man, it's a sauna in
there. Oh yeah, that's a great.
Sorry, she wanted to say hi. What's up, Allie?
Oh, what a cute dog.
Oh, it's my girlfriend.
That's a good prop,
What's that?
That's a good prop. I have a dog somewhere.
What kind of dog do you have, Glenn?
Osa.
Nice.
Let's see. I don't think she listens to me too
much. It's all good, all good. Yeah, I got 3. I got this is the funniest thing. So Chico, he's 6. Allie, who's 2, and then Taco, who's 10.
Dogs are
Uh, they're the best. And we got a cat, and I called him Luke Skywalker because his dark coat and he has a greenish eyes, kind of look like my watch here, or whatever.
yeah,
And so those are his eye colors. So I call him, oh, you're definitely a Luke Skywalker. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So,
that's good. So,
yeah.
so Carlos, you know what?
Yeah.
Rios has probably got like an alligator or a boa constrictor as a pet. What's he got?
What did you have, Rios, as your pet before?
German Shepherd.
Oh, I love German Shepherds. I don't have a big enough yard though for that.
Rios has like a whole Brazos Bend State Lake over there in the back in his yard.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you my beast. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is adorable. How old?
Believe it or not, Osa's 9.
Wow.
9. Okay.
Rescue or just
No, I saw a lot of. It's a golden retriever poodle mix.
Yeah.
So easiest dog in the world.
Yeah, that looks a bit. That dog's great. Like I said,
shorter than the owner. Except somebody rings the doorbell, which is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Loves to swim, jump, chase a ball.
Yeah. So. Amazing. Yeah, Rios, like we were talking about, Rios has like the whole Brazos River in his backyard, right, Rios?
Yeah, I live in Richmond, so I live right by the river.
You catch an alligator gar back there?
There might be one out there. There's coyotes. There's
alligator gar. That's the closest thing to prehistoric times, other than
alligator gar.
1,000 alligators.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to. I'm gonna set up I want to go. There's a lot of these crazy alligator gar guides on the Colorado River. I want to do.
No, go by Rios. Says he's got literally his backyard is like, not even joking, the Brazos River. Like not joking. It's literally right there. You can walk to it. Like that's how close to it.
Gators in there, Rios?
Have you seen any? Have you seen gators there?
I know there's just Gator Park on Highway 6, but like in Sugar Land, like if you go into this park, like you go in deeper, like there's like actual like alligators in there.
Don't be drinking a lot of Pacifico around those.
No.
He starts sharing it with one of them. You want some? One for you, one for me, one for you. Oh man,
Joe and gators doesn't go good together.
Right. Glenn, we're going about an hour now. So Glenn, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. We need to have you back again. Please, you got to join us again one of these days.
Anytime. I enjoyed it. I love talking dogs, gators, music, food. We did it all.
Oh yeah. Definitely. We covered like all the ground, and it's funny because I think we had written down some questions, and we probably asked you like 2 of them, and that was it. Sometimes you just kind of roll with it, man, and that's how it is.
That's usually your best stuff. I don't know if I was your best stuff, but
man, it was great.
This was great.
This was great.
We got to see a lot of great insight, from like seeing how the game has grown like over the years and to where it is now.
And how you're a big part of it as well, dude. Like how you've seen it, how you've seen it change. And I'm not trying to say like try to review your age by it, but just like it's awesome to see how much you've seen it develop. Yeah.
From playing, coaching, broadcasting, like it's been a fun journey.
Different things. And by the way, I will tell you that everybody gets these breaks. I got breaks, and a lot of people that helped me. But you said you were a teacher, Carlos.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything as redeeming as working with younger people. And
it's amazing.
I absolutely love the coaching side of it, and I was going to pursue that as a career, and then. I kind of got the TV became something a little different and unique, and doing media. I also wrote for the Chronicle for 7 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. Like you did that. One of my questions that I just remembered right now that I wanted to ask you. You been you commentated during the World Cup. What was that feeling when you got the call, or when you found out your very first World Cup that you were going to be a commentator? How did that feel?
That was a little awe-inspiring. I have to be honest with you, because we all know where we put the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
you get opportunities to do those types of things. I mean, you just have to appreciate it, give it your best. But yeah, I was ready to jump through the moon when I got asked to do it, and then I got to do a bunch of them.
Yeah, you did.
On the men's, I even did a couple on the women's side, and done a couple Olympics, which was also really unique experiences. And, I mean, one day I'll look back on it. Right now, I like to look forward. I don't look too far behind.
So another thing that I wanted to ask you is like, how do you like how have you seen how great of a progression have you seen from you said the women's soccer, like the progression that I've seen, you know I mean, even since I was a kid, like I didn't see much of like women's soccer, and now like you see it. You have the dash, you have different teams, like
The
it's
national
like
team,
the national team, man. Like
the team, they're the team to beat in the world right now.
yeah, they're the team to beat. Like you can't. They're the team to beat. They're amazing. So like, how does that make you feel also from that standpoint? Like to
The
see all
women's
the
game's amazing. So
yeah,
back when I was doing broadcasting, I'd get opportunities to do women's college soccer, the Big 12 championship and the SEC championships. And, from where I started broadcasting those games to where it is now and the quality of players, the athleticism, the technical abilities, it's unbelievable how it's grown. Now, we all knew that when the Netherlands, when some of these great soccer playing nations decided they wanted to invest in women's soccer, you knew they were going to be very good.
right,
They would narrow the gap of the physical side, which the U.S. and the competitive side, the U.S. had the advantage early, and now we've seen that grow closer and closer. It's been very good for U.S. women's soccer because it now has had us look at the game differently as far as player development and the technical side of it a little bit more, as opposed to just dominating people athletically. So it's amazing, and it's amazing globally too. Don't forget, you got the quality of the women's game, and I think the Houston Dash, they got 3 great front runners. They got to figure out how to get them unleashed, because once they do that with Diana Ordonez and Ebony Salmon and Maria Sanchez, man, those 3, they all got different qualities. They could be really fun to watch.
yeah, no, definitely. It's been an amazing progression seeing that, and those ladies, they're nothing to mess around with. They will put you down. They're amazing. I love watching them play too, man. It's amazing. It's great.
There should be a really good Women's World Cup this summer, and these countries, as time goes on and they put a bigger investment into it, and a seriousness, you see how quickly these countries develop. The Brazil women take on the culture of that soccer nation. The Netherlands, the same thing. So it's inevitable, really.
Yeah. No, for sure. Guys, really, I want to put Glenn Davis's Twitter handle really quick. Glenn Davis, I'm assuming SOC for soccer. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's probably good. Yes.
Yeah. And so please follow him on Twitter. He's just an amazing guy overall. Please follow Soccer Matters as well with Glenn Davis on ESPN Radio here in Houston. It's a great show, and we're just so happy that we got to have Glenn on our show. Honored for him to be here. It's been an amazing and a great conversation with him. Like you said, we covered all these points. We probably asked him like 3 questions that we wanted to ask him, and we covered food, dogs, alligators, you name it. It was awesome.
We were bringing live dogs on. I mean, the Westminster Dog Show's been going on. We're doing it all.
Exactly. And the best part is like we get to see a different side of Glenn Davis that I'm assuming most people don't get to see.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Carlos, much appreciated.
Not a problem. Is there anything you want to promote or talk to us about or share with us?
Yeah, there is one thing. You guys probably know Tom Clare, who's been a part of our Houston soccer community. He started the Manchester United supporters group. He's helped me with a lot of, he's led the way on a lot of soccer banquets, him and his wife, Cheryl. He passed recently, and just, for everybody that knew him in Houston, he was a fantastic author, wrote a ton of books. I think I have one of them around here somewhere. He's written a bunch of books, just like a total gatekeeper for Manchester United, but more importantly, just an incredible guy, an incredible man. So, maybe just a reminder about Tom Clare, Houston, big part of our Houston soccer community past.
There you go, Tom Clare. Rest in peace, man. Seriously, that's it. Thank you, Glenn, again for, like I said, coming on the show. And don't go just yet. We're just gonna end the show.
Okay.
And on that note, and again, thank you guys for joining us this evening. I appreciate y'all. Big shout out to Glenn for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Thank you, Glenn. See y'all.
Carlos Rios, much appreciated.
All right, man.
Sure.
Thank you, guys.